Is this true? To set up a company in Germany, you need a notary that will read the, contract for a couple of hours? Is it so time consuming to, when you sell a company, you had to form a company and sell it when you were excluding this from your original business. So
there are easy ways to do this. You can, because we are a remote business, so we have like other ways of meeting. We have other ways of doing our business. So there are ways of doing those things and to selling things and to setting up things that are not a caricature. It's still like there are still like legal processes that you need to follow. But like right now, if we would right now want to have another company, it would be, as a company right now with our size and with our connections that we now have, it would be a very easy thing to get this up and running. And if someone needs to sit somewhere and to depends on the length of your the contract, and depends on if all needs to be read it, or just like the notary just need to say like, okay, did you read that? Yes. Did you know everything in there? And they also might need to read it, but it's something that it's the same way of compliance wise. You need to have like certain things in place, and if they sound tedious, there is a process how it could be done. It's again like it's a very different mind shift if you talk to an enterprise agency and going like, yeah, there is a tedious project and we going like, yeah, we know compliance and other processes. So it's from a level of like not being bothered with, like, let's say here from a 3 people freelancer conglomerate that need to do something legally that's like, it's tedious, and for us we are at that level as normal things need to go, because with all the compliance, with all the certificates we have, that we really know what is the thing that we need to do to make something happen. So but I never heard of like being read for many hours to do something. I can imagine that, but it's not a thing that we are normally encounter.
Yeah. I was just thinking that obviously everyone can now do a lot more things remotely, but if there is an article that you have to sit with a notary to form a new company, and the notary is obliged to read the contract of that company, the forming contract. I don't know, I can't remember the name. You've got to suffer through it. So I was thinking about this, that in Germany it's so much more, let's say, legalistic. So much more is required to form a company, to do stuff, and so on. You mentioned, using WooCommerce was impossible until your plugin, right? Because you wouldn't be able to legally sell anything online. And I guess this is because of, legal status of, the legal quirks in Germany, right?
Yeah, at that time it was simply that, for example, there's one thing that Germany I think does, and nobody else is like, or like I think it's a Europe thing, that when you check out something, you need to have a final overview what you're currently doing, with all the numbers up, and like with all the numbers, final numbers, and with then going like, yes, I want to buy that. And WooCommerce itself never had that like feature of like the summary page that you then say, okay, I need to buy that. So that was one of the primary things we needed to add. And right now, for example, I think in Europe it's at least in Germany that you need to tell people what is in the product. If you have, for example, clothing, you need to tell them what percentage of what is in this product, and you can write it somewhere. And then you have like this base number. If you sell something in kilograms, you need to tell to be that people can compare prices. You need to tell them how much gram is like how much euros and gram this is, and that is also not something that WooCommerce brings in as a core feature. So those things were like, you can write them on your own, you can code your own way out of that, and you also have a little bit of like, let's say, legal leeway if you're saying like, I don't need this, my customers, that's my argument why I don't need that. And that's why people then still were coming to us going like, okay, we need to make sure it's easily like you have a lawyer looked over that. So we easily had like those ground marks being solved for them to simply make them like make WooCommerce grow in Germany. And most people were like taking our product to make sure that they can sell something. But again, that's the global growth of WooCommerce, is based on the easiness to add that to WordPress and the easiness of like the product itself. And then you need to still deal with the local ramifications of having WooCommerce in your country.
I think